Imagine hearing footsteps in your house late at night when you're supposed to be alone. What would you do? Investigate or run for your life? This is a story about what I did, and I still can't explain what happened. It all started on an unassuming Friday night. I had just wrapped up an exhausting work week and couldn't wait to sink into my couch with a glass of wine and a good movie. Outside, the weather was miserable. A storm howled through the neighborhood, rattling windows and pelting rain against the glass. My husband, Matt, was out of town for work, leaving me alone in our quiet 2-story home. Normally I loved the solitude, but that night the house felt different, cold, empty, like it was holding its breath. I brushed off the uneasy feeling as the product of a long week and poured myself some wine, lighting a few candles to chase away the shadows. Socks, our tabby cat, curled up by my feet, and Luna, my black cat, perched on the windowsill, staring intently into the rain. I picked a true crime documentary, something to keep my mind occupied, but halfway through, I heard it. A thump. It was faint, barely audible over the storm, but distinct enough to make me pause the TV. I looked around. Socks was snoring, and Luna hadn't moved from her perch. My logical brain tried to explain it away. Houses make noises, especially in bad weather. Then it came again. Thump, thump. This time, it was unmistakable. Footsteps, slow, heavy. They were coming from upstairs. My heart leapt into my throat. Our house was small, and we didn't have any guests. The alarm system hadn't gone off, and both doors were locked. I told myself it had to be the storm, maybe a branch hitting the roof, but deep down, I knew that wasn't it. I muted the TV, straining to hear. Thump. The sound moved, deliberate, measured, down the upstairs hallway. It was coming closer to the staircase. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaky. No answer. Every muscle in my body tensed. I grabbed my phone and started to text Matt. "I think someone's in the house." But before I could hit send, the footsteps stopped. The silence was deafening, stretching out for what felt like hours. I stayed frozen, my phone clutched in one hand, my eyes locked on the dark staircase. I should have called the police. That's what any rational person would do. But instead I grabbed the heaviest thing within reach, a metal candle holder, and crept toward the stairs. My phone flashlight sliced through the darkness as I climbed. Each step felt like it took an eternity. When I reached the top, the hallway stretched out before me, the doors to the bedrooms and bathroom ajar. I stood there, trembling, listening. The footsteps started again. But this time they weren't coming from the hallway. They were behind me. I whipped around, nearly dropping the flashlight. There was no one there, just the dark staircase leading back down to the living room. My breathing was ragged. I wanted to run, to get out of the house, but something compelled me to stay. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was stupidity. The sound shifted again. This time, it came from the master bedroom at the end of the hall. Slowly, I walked toward it. The air felt heavy, suffocating. I pushed the door open, expecting, praying, to find nothing. The room was empty. I stood there, my pulse pounding in my ears, convincing myself it was all in my head. Maybe the storm really was playing tricks on me. Maybe I was overtired. And then I heard it. A voice. Low, guttural, and impossible to mistake. "You shouldn't be here," I screamed, stumbling backward into the hallway. My phone slipped from my hand, the flashlight clattering to the floor and casting wild, flickering shadows. The footsteps returned, this time impossibly fast, chasing me. I bolted down the stairs, my candle holder forgotten, my only thought to get out. But when I reached the front door, it wouldn't open. The deadbolt was locked. though I could swear I had unlocked it earlier. My hands fumbled with the lock, and just as I got it open, the power went out. Darkness swallowed the house. I ran outside, rain drenching me instantly. The wind roared in my ears, but I didn't stop. I sprinted barefoot across the yard to my neighbor's house, banging on their door until they answered. The police arrived minutes later. They searched every room, every closet, even the attic. They didn't find anyone or anything. No signs of forced entry, no muddy footprints, nothing. But I know what I heard. The backstory. The house had always been strange. Little things, doors creaking open on their own, lights flickering, the feeling of being watched. Matt always laughed it off, blaming faulty wiring or the house settling. But I remembered something the previous owner had said when we bought the place. She'd hesitated, just for a moment, before handing over the keys. "You might hear things," she'd said, her voice tight. "Old houses have memories." I'd brushed it off at the time, thinking she was just being sentimental, but now, I wondered if she'd meant something else. The aftermath, I couldn't go back. Not that night, not ever. Matt came home the next day, and we stayed at a hotel while we figured out what to do. A week later, we sold the house. I didn't care about the financial loss. I just wanted out. I never told the new owners what happened. To this day, I don't know what I experienced. Was it a ghost, a warning, or something darker? All I know is that I'll never forget the voice, the footsteps, or the overwhelming sense that I wasn't alone. If you were in my shoes, would you have gone upstairs or run out immediately? Have you ever had a similar experience? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. Do you believe old houses can hold memories? Or do you think there's a logical explanation for everything? Thanks for watching. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe for more terrifying tales. And remember, if you hear footsteps in your house when you're alone, you might not be as alone as you think.